So what am I going to ramble on about today? Well, one question a lot of people in my life, a lot of students, and I've been teaching mainly adults for the past 16 years. They always ask me, do I plan to move back to America? And I'm probably going to piss off a lot of people with this, but my answer is always, hell no. Um, Here's the thing. Love my family, and I would love to see my family more often. Um, and I'm pretty rubbish at keeping in contact with people. That's just the way I've always been. It's probably because growing up, I tended to be very solitary. I would always be on the computer or reading a book, so I never developed those good social skills and never developed that comfort of spending a lot of time communicating or being around people, which impacts me to this day because if I go out with a group of people, I leave very quickly. 2 or 3 people, it's all right. But yeah, it makes it where I'm not the best at communicating with people. Putting aside the fact that I do wish I could maybe see my family a bit more and enjoy some more home cooking and whatnot, um, I would never live in America. To be perfectly honest, I would never return. And there are several reasons why. And this is why I always explain to my students. Number one, healthcare. I have a back problem. I have a herniated disc in my lower back, and I cannot really affordably get that fixed in America. And since it's a pre-existing condition now, insurance would never cover it. So if I lived in America and it got worse and I need to fix it, I would be in debt. It would destroy me. Okay, I just couldn't do it. It would ruin me, and I'm already close to the edge right now. So I don't have that financial leeway. Um, Whereas here I am in Vietnam, and I'm looking at flying next door, basically, to India in a couple of months to get my back fixed for $2,000. America, probably 15, 20,000. $2,000, reputable hospital in India. If I were fortunate enough to be Canadian or British, I might, or French, from what I've heard, I might be able to get it fixed for free or for a very minimal price. But again, that's one reason I won't go back to America. It's just the cost of the medical bills. It's crazy there. There's so many people in the pocket of big pharma, governments in the pocket of big pharma and the hospitals and whatnot, and it's just screwed up everything. We don't take care of people. We're basically the only democracy in the world where we don't guarantee universal health care to our people, which is crazy. The second reason is, I would say there's so much vitriol in America right now. I left America back in 2006, and it was fine. I mean, from the 90s, you could see tension. You could see, the left and the right kind of gnawing at each other, yipping at each other like, little curs here and there. That's not nice to say. I shouldn't say that, but you get what I mean. Just yip, yip, yip at each other. But now it's gotten a lot more hateful. And, I'm not going to talk more about it just because people hammer on this all the time about social media creating alternate realities for different groups of people, and it's absolutely true. And everyone thinks that their bubble is the right bubble, and that the other bubble is pulling down society, is screwing up society, and is harming society. And they're all idiots. Both sides are idiots. Anyone who says, I'm a hardcore Republican, I'm a Republican, I'm a liberal, I'm a Democrat, you're a moron. Both of you, all of you, you're morons. And I say this simply because as soon as you choose one side and you stand by that side no matter what, you're already wrong. Because these systems, these parties come from people, and people are not infallible. People make mistakes. People make mistakes all the time, which means that the things that people create are faulty, are going to be filled with mistakes as well. So if you're a smart person, you would say, I lean this way, But there's other ideas on the other side that I can go along with that I understand and make sense to me. I think if you're a smart person, you'll try to have a balanced view, a more see the world with more nuance. I mean, what is it? Star Wars? What is it? The extremes? Yoda says something about going to the absolutes. Only the dark side deals in absolute. Well, whether you're liberal or conservative, Republican or Democrat, when you start dealing with absolutes, you go too far, and anything you take too far becomes a bad thing, a terrible thing, typically. So the key is finding that middle ground, and I think a lot of Americans are not really doing that. Some are, of course, but a lot of them are not. And of course, I blame the news, I blame the media on that, but ultimately, I blame the government, I blame legislation. I'm going to tie that in with a bit about free speech. Yeah, is it really a good thing? I know people are going to be so angry when I say that, but there has to be some limitation, you know. Um, there has to be some limitation in what news programs can say before they can no longer be labeled as a news program. There has to be some limitation in regards to how much you allow one side to speak about something that maybe goes against what's good for the country, for example. And then that gets into the hairy situation about then, okay, who decides what's good for the country? I get that. But there do have to be some limitations. You can't keep having these programs putting out news that has been heavily edited and doctored, where they cut out certain snippets and put that out there, and it misleads people. It takes things out of context. That cannot be allowed, you know? And things cannot be allowed that go outside, I would say, the realm of statistics, where, for example, if 5% of experts say this and 95% of experts say that, and then your news program focuses on this 5% over and over, that cannot be allowed. So when I say that freedom of speech needs to be reined in, I think maybe it's better for me to say the freedom of the press needs to be reined in a bit in those regards. Otherwise, they can be delabeled as news and not legally allowed to call themselves news anymore. Something like that. Something has to be done. And at the end of the day, that's up to the government to do that, because the press ultimately is a business and they want to make money. And whatever gets you angry is what you are going to click on. And they're not going to change that, even if society is burning down around us. So, at the end of the day, it's the responsibility of the government to rein that in. And they're not going to do that, at least not in the foreseeable future. And the news is not going to change. So, again, the vitriol will continue. And that's another reason why I choose to not go back. So yeah, long story short, those 2 points are the main reasons. I find living abroad, it's nice. You do have certain freedoms. You feel a gap in the market. You do have certain problems that you do encounter, but you're not tied down to all of that nonsense, back home. So yeah, do I plan to return? No. Long term, hopefully Japan. We'll see. That's the 3-year goal from now. But yeah, that's for later. Anyway, that's my ramble today. Went longer than expected, but yeah, talk to you tomorrow.